Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. All right, Sag. So just looking at these, I think that some of you have been put in this position, but it's actually a good thing for you with joy being there. It's like you find happiness with your position. So from Lay Vampire, Outsider, Misfit, Loner, Wanderer, and then from Chakra Wisdom, Joy. Outsider is saying that you need to accept the outsider's position for now so that you can observe, watch, see, and record. It's saying that you can use this in terms of being a writer, an artist, a teacher, but you're being given an opportunity to see the world from a different perspective, basically. But I think that some of you were put in this position. But regardless, with joy being there, you're fine. Joy is saying, though, too, that this is a major life change for you. For some of you, it could be a new job, marriage, a move. But this is what happens after the Fool. I mean, the very first quote for this says, let's jump and see what happens. It says that this is the moment after the leap. You may not see where you are going, but you will land on your feet. So even if you were put in the outsider position, with joy, you're going to be fine. All right, Sag, here we go. Here's your overall for the week. The Three of Pentacles. So yeah, it could be about a job. With outsider and joy, you may be doing a job that most people don't want to do. Or you have a very unique and creative job. But with the Three of Pentacles, yeah. You know, beyond work, though, when I see this, to me, it's saying that somebody is doing the right thing. Because when you're looking at this one, you're talking about somebody who is being sought out for their skill and their talent. So, you know, people wouldn't be seeking you out if you weren't doing the right thing. Now, some of you, again, you know, it could be a new job here. And then with the three, you could be working with other people, though, too. But we'll see how this is playing out. Oh, boy. The Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is the past coming through. You know, when we're looking at this in terms of work, this could be new offers coming through, absolutely. But, you know, you're talking about the Knight of Cups, the messenger of love and romance, right? Somebody who may be offering a connection, you, them. But, you know, it's really about whether or not, you know, you're accepting a new offer, though. I mean, and if we are talking about work, I mean, it looks like it, right? Oh boy. All right. In the present moment, the Emperor, Aries. I don't know. If we're talking about a person coming through that's making an offer, it looks like, you know, it's stable. It's stable and secure. When you look at the Emperor, you're talking about order and control, right? Getting control over what is happening in your world. You know, for some of you, it could be that you're accepting an offer and becoming a manager. I mean, you know, that's what it looks like, just surface level. You know, but we could be talking about some of you dealing with a person here who may be wanting to work with you. You know, and I say that because of the Knight of Cups being above him. Oh boy. Yeah. So yeah, some of you definitely dealing with a person here, the King of Cups. Now, you know, again, right, like, I do think that you're dealing with a person, but when I'm looking at the court card, besides, you know, the sign attached to it, you know, besides the fact that you may be dealing with a water sign, I mean, you know, you've got the Knight of Cups there too. This is about you getting control and getting control over your emotions, you know. And you could have somebody coming through, though, that may be like really supportive. Maybe they're wanting to have a connection with you, you know, and maybe you're wanting to work things out with them. Work out with them. Yeah, you know, going to the gym, possibly. But I don't know. The Emperor seems really strong right now in the present moment. You know, I don't really ever see him being the one to, like, send the Knight of Cups out, you know, because, I mean, that's his messenger. I don't know. You know, you're still looking at dealing with a person, though, in future conditions regardless. But then the question becomes, are you willing to work with them? You know, if they're offering you something, or you them. Oh shit, your best path to follow, the Five of Swords. You know, with that being there, that always throws me off when it shows up there, because immediately I want to say that you need to stand up for yourself. Don't get caught up in any kind of conflict, and certainly don't back down. And I don't think that this is about you, willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want. I think that this is what you're dealing with externally. And the advice here is to be careful about being taken advantage of. That perfect. There it is. Especially with the Knight of Cups coming through. As much as I love him, when you see shit like this, it throws it off. I would be careful. I would be careful there with that. And I don't know. The more I look at the Emperor, the more I feel like this is kind of where you are right now. And it makes me wonder if somebody is looking to cause more conflict, but then there's still the question of whether or not, like I said, you're working with them. The Star. Okay, so, what I feel like with this is, if you've dealt with a person who took advantage of you, it looks like you're still dealing with them, but with the Emperor and the Star being there, I feel like this is you. And you getting control over what is going on and doing that healing, right? With the Star. But then not only that, but looking at bigger and better things. Getting better control over what is going on. You may be directing your attention somewhere else, though. But, then again, right? Like, these could be two different situations, though, too. Because I don't know. Like, I'm on the fence about this, but I don't like this. Because if we are talking about the same person here that you're dealing with, you're already in a space right now where you have control over what's going on in your life and there's healing. But it's like there may be somebody that's looking to still take advantage of you, especially emotionally, which is hard to do to a Sagittarius, right? But you guys are known as the romantics, though, too. And if somebody is sweet talking you enough, are you going to allow that back in? I don't know. I'm like on the fence about it. Your hopes and your fears, the Seven of Pentacles. This is basically saying that, if you're willing to work with somebody who may have done you wrong before, are you going to see the same results? Is it worth your time and effort? Yeah, I don't think that this is about a work situation. I mean, some of you definitely, you could be dealing with, cutthroat work situation for sure between these two, right? You may have an offer coming through, but, needing to be careful of being taken advantage of, or, somebody trying to get one up over you, right? The hollow victory. But I feel more so that this is about, a connection that you have with somebody, because you're showing that you've done some healing here. But is it worth your time and effort? I always look at the Seven of Pentacles and think, is this person really happy with what they're seeing? Because if they're not, then, it's time to act on something else here, because it's about continued growth regardless. You're only at the 7. We got to get to the 10. So you're going to have to continue working toward something that is going to produce what you want, but it may not be with this person. And I say that because of this and this kicking it off. And you already working toward healing and getting better control. Woo boy. All right. Now, coming out of this, the Ace of Swords, what is the truth though? Because I'm looking at it this way, and it may be that, somebody is speaking up, or you are, but it is about truth and clarity with the Ace of Swords, right? Speaking your truth. Somebody else may be giving you the truth, but you're still looking at here, possibly putting in the effort. And then the Six of Cups, the truth about the past, and then you have the Knight of Cups, and then I look at this and I think somebody may have tried to take advantage of you, or they did. Now, when we're looking at the Queen of Cups, regardless here, I do think, obviously you're dealing with a person, whether you're a male or female. And this is going to have to do with a relationship. Now, with the Queen of Cups, as far as the energy, you're talking about emotional attachment, being emotionally involved, being invested, accepting the cup. but something went wrong somewhere, because I feel like they're still looking to work with you. But the truth of the situation, though, is that you are on to bigger and better things. I don't think it's about you being in hermit mode. I feel like, especially with these powerhouses being here, that you've done the soul searching. You are looking at bigger and better things. You know, I think that some of you may look back and reflect on the past, but it's only to remember that there may not have been enough. I feel like there wasn't enough. And it would have been completely different if we would have been talking about anything other than the Five of Swords being here. And especially with the Oracle cards being pushed out, but then finding new joy in your life. But because you did this. You know, but I still look at you looking back, and there's still emotional involvement because you're still looking at a good pair here. You know, but what is the truth, though? What is your truth? You know, and it may be that it wasn't enough, you know. It may be that you're fine with the memories, but like I said, bigger and better things. Like bigger and better things here. So it's still a question of, you know, whether or not you're wanting to put in the effort toward working with this person. I think that they want to. I have a feeling that they're wanting to like try to repair things, but you've already done that. So why should you open up the door? You know, I mean, it's completely up to you, but you're looking at it here with the Seven of Pentacles going, is it worth your time and effort? And that's basically what it comes down to. But like I said, with the Five of Swords being there, it's almost like a reminder. You know, and again, I'm looking at these and I'm going, man, you've done a lot of work, because the Knight of Cups, right? I mean, you know, like I've said before, he's like a junkie going after the first high. He's willing to offer that cup wherever somebody's going to take it, and he can experience a new emotion. Now, other times, you know, it could be a good thing, right? But like I said, you know, for those of you who are in a relationship right now, you may be more focused on your career. And I think that you move into a place where, like, if you're seeing somebody right now, that you just become friends. I mean, I don't see it as a bad thing. But, you know, he tends to show up, the Knight of Pentacles, for couples when you move into the friend zone, right? Now, it could just be that, you know, you need to, you know, be friends with your partner and help them with whatever is going on with finances and career, which is possible. But now, as far as those of you who are single, you have somebody coming back through that's trying to fix some shit. I'm telling you. The Nine of Wands, and when you look at this one, he's got his hand on her face, like, yep, back up, it's too late, right? It's like somebody who's needing to hurry up, get in there, and fix some shit. You know, but it's really on whether or not you're willing to let them in. You know, but with soulmate being there, for some of you, you may feel like that. Like they're your soulmate, but they did something wrong. They've done something wrong. I don't think it's you. You know, but clearly here somebody is wanting to come in and fix something, and it's just a question of whether or not you're going to allow them to. And I do think that some of you are looking for truth about the past, but then I also look at the past and think being taken advantage of, and like I said, on to bigger and better things. All right, Sag. So like I said before, I don't think that you were wanting to be put in this position, but with Outsider and Joy, it's actually working out for you. You've been given an opportunity to see things from a different perspective here, but it's allowing you to be that conduit for joy, to create joy in your life, right? Things are going better for you, but it's because you have done this for yourself. Now, I do think that we are talking about relationship issues here, and I swear to God, I don't go into these looking for that, you know, but the majority of people are looking at relationship issues. Now, this could definitely be a work situation. But what I'm seeing here is it looks like you still have like this offer coming through, and it looks like somebody is wanting to work with you because you still have a person in your space. Now, I do think that you have gotten control over your emotions in this situation for sure. But it's still a question of whether or not you're willing to do this, especially if you're fearing seeing the same results that you may have seen before. And looking at these two, this is being taken advantage of. You know, with the Five of Swords showing up as your best path to follow, it's almost like a reminder, you know, to go back and look at, you know, what may have happened. Because I look at you coming out on this and wanting to have the truth. Like needing to have the truth about the past or accepting the truth about what happened in the past, right? Now, with the Queen of Cups, like I said, I do think we're talking about, you know, a relationship here, and it's a good match, right? But there are issues here, and I think that you may be still in an emotional place and thinking about doing this, because there is emotional attachment when you're talking about the Queen of Cups. But like I said, with the Hermit, I mean, looking at all three of these, this to me is right now, what is happening right now. Definitely doing the soul searching here, looking at bigger and better things and getting better control over your life. You know, and then looking at the Hermit though too, I do think that some of you may have been thinking about this for a while, but have been like apart. But, you know, it's like you go right back to the past, and then you have the Knight of Cups and needing to have the truth, right? Especially when it comes to emotional manipulation, which comes up with this. Because I don't think it's about you trying to get one up on somebody else. I think that this is what you've been through. You know, but like I said, you've done a lot of work to get to where you're at right now. Why would you want to let this back in? Well, because there's still attachment there, which, you know, is understandable. But, you know, you're being directed back to the past. And like I said, the Knight of Cups, had anything else been your best path to follow, I'd been like, oh, he's great. But no. Now, as far as relationships go, yeah, I'm telling you, somebody is trying to come in and fix something. When you're looking at soulmate and the Nine of Wands, they better hurry up because they are running out of time, you know, and it may be too late because you're looking at a 9. They may be your soulmate, yes, but as far as that goes, I mean, when I look at soulmate, I think that could be anybody, right? But, you know, there's a deeper connection there for you, but I think it's about somebody needing to come in and fix something. And the question then becomes, is it too late? Is it too late for them to fix the mistakes that they've made with you? Now, as far as those of you who are in a relationship, finances and career, and then looking at the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles is like oh yeah, that's great and all, but we're just friends. You know, somebody who does make an offer, but being like put in the friend zone. Now, it could be that, you know, you're needing to be a friend to your partner here and help them out with whatever is going on with, you know, the career and finances. But I do think that for some of you, if you are in a relationship now, I think it's you. Like, I think it's you pushing them into the friend zone. Now, it could be that it's happening to you, but you're the one that's focused on finances and career. But, you know, what I will say is no matter what you ultimately do here, if you're willing to work with this person or not, there still needs to be a look at the past and needing to have truth and clarity about what happened in the past, especially emotionally. And again, I say that because of the Five of Swords being there. And just be careful about, you know, not being taken advantage of. Especially if you've worked really hard to get to where you're at now. Because you do deserve bigger and better things.